Welcome to First and 10th HS Live. I'm sports editor Nicholas Huben. Directly from the NJISA meeting is Mike McGarry. Mike, Robbinsville to Egg Harbor Township, and how long?
About an hour and 20 minutes with a stopover at the Atlantic City Rest area to write the story. So about a 2-hour trip total.
Quite impressive. Let's wrap up last week a little bit. I think before you went to the meeting, the actual Shawnee-Millville game just ended.
Right. It just ended. Great game out in Medford, but Millville sort of continues to establish itself as one of the premier teams in South Jersey. They win that game 49-39. LeQuint Allen runs for 300 yards, scores 6 touchdowns. So now Millville at 3-0 off this week. They were supposed to play Highland. That game was canceled because Highland has COVID-19 issues. So Millville gets a week off to prepare for St. Augustine next week.
Which will be one of the games we look forward to all year.
Right, exactly.
The talent on that field will be amazing that night. We're here at EHT this week. Big win for the Eagles last week.
Yeah, EHT comes through. They beat Oakcrest for their first win of the season, so they're 1-2, and now they've got a chance to sort of even their record. Cherry Hill West on Friday night, who's 0-2. So winnable game for the Eagles, getting good performances from running back Rondell Vaughn and wide receiver Xavier Bullock. They beat Oakcrest last week, and we'll look to build on that momentum against Cherry Hill West on Friday.
Don't confuse them with East. Also, the last week, Lou Versillo, kind of one of the stalwarts of the Shore Conference, picks up win number 300 on Friday night.
Yeah, Lou's been at the Shore forever, the only coach that Lacey has ever had. They beat Brick 28-14. Good performance by Lacey. Noah Brunetti, the quarterback, had an excellent game. He's really an experienced guy, quarterback. Lacey might be a team to watch in the Shore Conference and in the South Jersey playoffs. You know, they're kind of easy to overlook sometimes because of where they're located, but Lacey definitely might be a team to watch.
Now let's get to this week. It's what's the word I'm looking for? We have rivalry games, a couple of big rivalry. Two big rivalry games.
If you look at it, right.
We'll start with where you'll be on Friday night. I swear they'll play tiddlywinks against each other. They hate each other. They'll draw cards against each other. They hate each other. Football, that's a whole nother level.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what sport they play in. It's a big game when Mainland and Ocean City play. It's even bigger than when they play in football. This Friday at Mainland, Ocean City comes in 3-0 off a 35-0 defeat of Absegami. Riley Gunnels, the quarterback, will have a story about him online on Thursday, Friday's paper. The grandson of Eagles player Riley Gunnels, who played on the 1960 championship team. Ocean City hasn't been scored upon. They'll go over and play a 2-1 Mainland team on Friday.
And Gunnels has been kind of a revelation in a way. He's really played well, and he replaced a kid who graduated last year, had immense success, and they haven't missed a beat on offense.
Yeah, so far it's been smooth sailing. He threw 4 touchdown passes. Each game they like him to do a little bit more, but here's a guy who's grown up with football. He's not going to be fazed by a Friday night. Here's a guy who's been hanging around Tommy McDonald and Brian Westbrook since he was 5 or 6 years old, so he's not going to be fazed by a Friday night over at Mainland. Mainland's got a good quarterback themselves in Jabril Mason. They're coming off a come-from-behind win over Hamilton, sort of building momentum there, so it should be another classic in Linwood.
It always is when news to me. And you're also writing this week in your column about probably the classic of classics in that rivalry.
Yeah, we'll be looking back at the 1996 game, 6-5 Mainland in Ocean City, 1996 game on a windy night in Linwood. We'll be sort of reliving that game for my must-win column this week.
And another rendition of the Holy War, this time St. Joe's and St. Augustine.
Yeah, big game here. St. Augustine at 2-1, St. Joe at 2-1. Both of them are looking for their first signature win of the season. Some really explosive players on the field. Jameer Cartagena for St. Joe, averaging like 37 yards a catch. Kanye Udo, standout running back for St. Augustine. Somebody's going to get their first signature win of the season Friday night when these two parochial teams meet.
And also, Absegami and Cedar Creek are, as I call it, the Greater Egg Harbor Regional Derby.
Yeah, Greater Egg Harbor District. You got Absegami, Cedar Creek, and Oakcrest. It's a big game when any of those three meet. And Cedar Creek's been impressive so far this season, 3-0. They're another team that hasn't been scored upon. Jojo Bermudez, Jaquan Howard, CJ Resto leading the Pirates. They'll try to go to 4-0 against Absegami on Friday night.
What other games are we looking at this weekend? There's not a lot on Saturdays. Friday night's packed.
Yeah, some really interesting other matchups that I can't remember.
Oh, no, Mike! And this time we remember what games are on Friday night.
I'm 56 years old. Sometimes the memory just goes blank, especially on a long day. But yes, there are several other interesting games Friday nights.
What are we going to keep your eye on besides those main ones?
Hamilton and Vineland both are 1-2. One of them is going to go to 2-2. One of them is going to go to 1-3. That's obviously a big deal for two young teams. You know, the winner stays in playoff contention. Middle Township 2-0. They travel to 2-0 Glassboro, and Lower Cape May coming off a win over Cumberland Regional. They'll host Lindenwold, which has lost 29 in a row. So Lower Cape May with a chance to go to 2-1 this week also.
You're going to have after this week teams that have played 4 games, halfway to their quotient for the state tournament. What do you always say? It gets late early in high school?
It gets late early in high school football, and it's a big difference. And an interesting thing today at the NJSAA meeting, they announced that they are planning to have the full state tournaments in every sport this fall. And if a team gets COVID during the playoffs will move on. That game will be forfeited. So there's a message out there to high school athletes: keep yourself healthy, keep your teammates healthy, and keep your team involved in state tournaments.
You saw that in college. You saw it in a lot of big conferences. We're not
waiting for anybody. If you get COVID, you're going to forfeit.
So anything else before we wrap up?
No, I think that's about it. Smooth show today.
Smooth show today. Go to PressiveAC.com for all of our coverage of all the action this weekend.